I'd like to call to order the Madison District Public Schools regular Board of Education meeting for Monday, May 2nd, 2016. Ask that you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Mick Honer. You calling roll or is Mick calling roll?
Thanks, man. Mick's got it.
All right.
You are?
Man, he's always got it.
Roll call, Ms. Sherman?
Brett?
Here.
Paul? Here. Honer?
Here.
Kirsten?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Morrison?
Here.
Pittman?
Here.
Public input is fundamental to the operation of Madison District Public Schools. Our public has an opportunity to speak at every Board of Education meeting. A period of time known as public comment is set aside at each meeting to give parents and other citizens a chance to speak directly to the board about school-related topics. Anyone who wishes to speak to the board must fill out a request form and give it to the board secretary. Tonight that would be Ms. Sherman. Before the meeting begins, comments are limited to 3 minutes. School employees will not use this form to discuss job-related topics. The Board of Education accepts comments made during public comment from anyone who follows these guidelines. Public comment is one of the many information sources that the board uses before making decisions in the best interest of the children who attend Madison District Public Schools. The board also works with district staff to address citizens' questions and concerns. Any public comment tonight?
I have received none.
Thank you very much. So we can move directly to the presentation of the Student of the Month.
Great, thank you, Mr. President. We're actually going to do Student of the Month on this side because of the presentation we're going to do a little bit later during our meeting. So we're going to start with Madison Elementary. Who's coming up from Mr. Tran? Who's going to come up from Madison Elementary? And Ms. Vader, come on up, guys.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to be here on behalf of Mrs. DiGiulio at Madison Elementary this evening, and I want to introduce a fifth grade teacher who has done a fabulous job with all the fifth grade students, but he's going to honor two in particular this evening. Mr. Tom Tran.
Good evening. First off is Adriana Chappelle, who's in Miss Maloney's class. She couldn't be here tonight, come on up, but she did print up a statement for me to read for you all. There are not enough kind words to describe Adriana. She is a new student to our school this year, but you would never know it since she fits right in and has made too many friends to count. Not only is she a good friend, but an honor roll student and a role model for her peers. She is respectful, responsible, and hardworking. I am proud of the person she is becoming and know there are great things in her future. Congratulations, Adriana, on this well-deserved award.
You guys want to come up? Mom?
Also representing fifth grade is Aiden Robinette, who is in my class. I chose Aiden because he is the rock in my classroom. He is always the first one to raise his hand to help other people, to help a struggling student, to pick up the classroom. I never have to ask him to pick up even litter because it's his school and that's how he feels. He is respectful, also an honor roll student, and I have no doubts that he will be successful in whatever he chooses to do with his life. So,
Thank you, Mr.
thank you, sir.
Wilkinson Middle School, Mr. Abdulahad.
Well, I brought our fine arts department with us. So we have our art and music program here. So, Ms. Soroka and Ms. Pagos.
Okay, the student of the month that I chose this month is Katera. I asked Katera's classmates to describe her today, and they said pretty, nice, and funny. Katera has the ability to make a serious situation light with her humor and positive attitude. She exudes a truly creative and constructive energy that radiates in the classroom. She puts forth tremendous effort in every class and has the ability to put a smile on faces around her. There isn't a day that the students and I won't laugh with her. I have watched her extend a helping hand to students without hesitation. If there ever was a student I felt deserved this award, it is Katera Thomas. Thank you for making the art room such a fun place to work and learn. Congratulations.
Congratulations, good job.
All right, the student that I chose today is Cody Token. He has been in band with me last year and this year, and the amount of growth that he's made as a student is just incredible. He's gone from being kind of a shy, quiet individual who was always really smart and did his job and helped others to being definitely a leader in the classroom, always being on task and being ready in class, always performing, going above and beyond, being in the marching band. And outside of the band world is also our baseball team manager this year. So I'm super proud of how much Cody's grown this year, and I can't wait to see where he goes in high school.
Good job, buddy. Congratulations.
Madison Prep.
Such a long walk. Good evening. So I am lucky enough to represent the entire school as I come to you with our 2 students of the month. And we're a relatively smaller school with a smaller staff, so we come up with 3 top vote-getters in each category, and then the teachers decide who's the winner, female and male student of the month. And then they give me a lot of feedback about each one of the winners, so that's what you'll be able to hear tonight as a representation of our entire staff. So I would first like to bring up our female student of the month winner, Ashley Farrington. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ashley from our staff's point of view. Ashley is a quiet and courteous young lady. Her English teacher says that she is an English superstar. She also says that Ashley always gives thoughtful written responses and that her writing is a pleasure to read. Ashley's science teacher says that she asks good questions, does her work every day, and is always working hard to raise her grade. The teachers all agree that Ashley is a sweetheart to have around. She is not afraid of hard work, and that is a sign of a fabulous and hardworking student. This must be so because this is her second time this year being nominated and winning for Student of the Month. Congratulations. You want to come up? You sure?
Yes.
You can cry, it's okay.
One more.
Oh. So our male student of the month I'd like to call is Corey Nasser. bit about Corey. Corey is extremely quiet and very polite young man who is focused on graduation this year. His science teacher says this about Corey. Corey has come a long way since first meeting him. He has always been quiet and independent, but it wasn't until we did an assignment on the reintroduction of wolves to the Yellowstone that Corey started speaking up. With his contributions and work, he proved how much he knows and understands about biology. His health teacher also says that Corey has shown much improvement this year and is working hard and is sure to graduate. Corey's math teacher cites that Corey has made great strides in math and is one of the easiest students to get along with. We are so excited to see Corey graduate, and we are very proud of your accomplishments at Prof. You want to come up? No? Okay. Did you want to hold up your page?
Madison High School, Mr. Hernovich.
We actually tonight have 5 students that are being recognized as Student of the Month. I don't know that they necessarily represent a Student of the Month, but they do represent the district in several different ways. At the high school, we get into the season of success, whether it's Senior Honors Night, Underclassmen Honors Night, lots of awards handed out, volunteer luncheon with the city, adult volunteer luncheon for adults that are volunteers. In other words, at the high school, this becomes a season that we celebrate the successes of our students. However, a lot of times, people, entities, different influences on our district, on our school, will tend to paint that success differently. And tonight I'll call it painting by numbers. They will look at numbers and use those numbers in a means to define whether or not we are successful. Those numbers can be test scores, those numbers can be attendance, those numbers can be a budget, those numbers can be a scoreboard, those numbers can represent cheeks and seats. Those numbers can represent how much we have in district on a snow day. In other words, lots of people can look at numbers as a means to define success. Tonight, we're not going to paint by numbers. Tonight, we're going to define success as a means of statistics. In other words, what we are going to do tonight is, instead of focus on statistics, we're going to focus on students. I want to talk about some of the students we have individually here tonight. They're going to come up, they're going to give a short 1 to 2 page presentation of where they've come from. But when we talk about success in this district, tonight we'll define it by our students. You will have a student that will come up here tonight that did not come to America until he was in 5th grade. And when he stepped into Madison District, he didn't know a word of English. We have another student here tonight that grew up in the district, spent most of her career in the district, but didn't live in the district. This is a student that could have gone anywhere to school. She chose to stay in Madison District. We have another student that did not come to the district until he was a junior in high school. He is another student. He could have gone anywhere. He chose this district because he thought it would give him the best opportunity academically and athletically to secure a scholarship. We have another student who is the firstborn in her family, the firstborn in America. These are the types of students that are represented here at the high school. But more importantly, they represent this district. So in a month from now, when we have a graduation ceremony for these students, on behalf of being graduates of Madison High School, really, these students are graduates of the Madison District Public Schools. So without further ado, to paint a picture of success, I'd like to bring up Kaylin Steffo as our Student of the Month. We don't use note cards anymore, we read cards.
My name's Kaylin Steffo. I'm a senior at Madison High School. I'm Chaldean. I was born and raised in Michigan. I have two sisters, Angelina and Alana, and I have one brother, George. They're both younger than me. I've been in the Madison district for most of my whole life. I started off at Edison and ended up moving to Sterling Heights. When my mom got remarried at the age of 9. I attended 3 other schools, Jefferson, Cromie, and Carter, before we moved back to Madison Heights. I started back at Wilkinson in the 6th grade, and I've been there ever since then. Even when we moved back to Sterling Heights during my junior year, I stayed at Madison. Madison isn't like most high schools. We're a family. Everyone is so close and always there for one another, whether it's a staff member or peer. Madison has so many great opportunities for me that other high schools could not offer me, such as sports, small classrooms, scholarships, and clubs. Clubs are a very big one for me. Student council, Winning Futures, Women of Tomorrow, class officer, DECA, and more. I even had a great opportunity during summer with General Motors. We worked with GM retirees in a college intern. I also have a great bond with administration, even though they can be quite frustrating. Harwood. They're always there when you need them. I came a long way since my freshman year. Madison has improved my academics and sports, but the food, not so great. Sorry, Hearn. But I'm a very big sport girl. I played volleyball, basketball, soccer, and I also ran track during my 4 years at Madison. I loved every minute of it. I think that'll be the most thing I miss about Madison. If you've ever been to a Madison game, you know how competitive and spirited we are in our school. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. I personally believe that the students should take advantage of the programs here at Madison. We are so tiny at the school, that students have a better opportunity of winning a scholarship, being on the class board, student council, and programs that will get them to college. I plan on going to Oakland University in the fall and pursue my love for sports. I plan to major in physical therapy and hopefully work with other dedicated athletes by helping them recover and get back to dominating whatever sport they succeed in.
Caleb Steffo. Our next student is Amber, and I will not attempt to pronounce her last name, Gurkowski. Amber Gurkowski. Amber has a unique story in all the world. She's going to tell it, but I'm going to drop it a little bit in case we don't all understand it. Amber, come on up. Amber, if you remember, we were closing and opening elementary schools. And I knew, and I didn't find this out until today, I knew that there were some students that, although they lived in the district, had been displaced by their elementary schools 3 times. I knew that there were a class of students that had happened to. That happened to Amber. She's going to talk about that. Amber Gurkowski.
Okay. My name is Amber Gurkowski, and I'm a senior at Madison High School. I grew up in Madison Heights, but just before I turned 16, I was forced to move to Clinton Township because of some family issues. When I moved out of the district, I began to realize how much the school and the city truly meant to me. In order to stay in the district, I had to grow up and get a job so I could pay for a car to get back and forth on my own. I eventually did, and now I'm graduating from Madison. I started school in the Madison district, and I'm very pleased to say I will be graduating from the district as well. I definitely got to experience many different schools, even though I never left the district. I originally started off at Chain Hills Elementary from kindergarten to 2nd grade. Once it was time for 3rd grade, a change was made, and all the 3rd graders had to move to Halfman Elementary. Once 4th grade came around, another change was made, and all 4th graders had to transfer to Edison. The following year, we had the choice to stay at Edison or transfer back to Halfman. So I stayed and finished all of my 5th grade and then began at Wilkinson for my 6th grade year. Once middle school ended, I was told I would go to Lanphier District, which wasn't something I wanted to do. I begged all of my 8th grade year until it was time for 9th grade to stay at Madison, and I managed to do so. Although I have been to so many schools, I love that because I've got to meet so many amazing teachers and so many different friends. There are so many amazing teachers in the district, but there were a few I will never forget. One of the best teachers I had was Mrs. Berger. She was an amazing teacher, and she was like family to all of her students. Whenever there was an issue, we went to her. All the previous students were truly heartbroken when we heard that she was no longer around. Another amazing teacher I had was Mrs. Brewer. She was such a fun teacher, and you could never really get bored in her classes because she was so entertaining in them. She also made you work as hard as you could. She knew when you were turning in work that you didn't spend much time on. Miss Kim was also another person I'm very grateful to have met at Madison because she helped me through some rough times with my family in my sophomore year. There are so many teachers I appreciate for helping me through the school, and I can't list them all because it would be pages long, but those are a couple of my favorites. Overall, my high school experience has been amazing. I've had my ups and downs. There were days that I didn't even want to attend school anymore, but there was just as many days where I knew I would make it very far as long as I tried my hardest. I am so grateful for the opportunities I've had at Madison and the programs I've participated in. One thing I am known for at Madison is being a nurse. Although I am not a nurse, I did attend OTEC for health science, so I wear scrubs almost daily. I attended OTEC my junior year, and I applied for a co-op position at Beaumont Royal Oak for my senior year. Only about 10 people in the whole class get chosen, and I was one of the lucky ones. I am now a nursing assistant at Beaumont, and it has opened so many job opportunities for me. I now have a full-time job after graduation at a school for close-head injury people thanks to this program. I would definitely recommend this program to any juniors in the school, which I have before, and many feel comfortable coming and asking me questions about it. I have also participated in NHS, Women of Tomorrow, and the cheerleading team, which has helped me become more comfortable around people. Once I graduate, I will be attending OCC to get my prereqs out of the way, and then I will be going to OU to get my nursing degree. Thanks to Madison, I've already learned the most important skills for a job like nursing.
That should be everything. Our next student is Jordan Wyckoff. Jordan Wyckoff. Jordan took advantage of Madison High School and Madison District Schools very late in his career, but it's never too late to get it right. Right, Jordan? Yeah.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Wyckoff. I'm a senior at Madison High School. I was born in Royal Oak and raised in Detroit. I live with my mom, my dad. I have a younger sister named Sienna who attends Cass Tech High School in Detroit, Michigan. I didn't attend Madison all my 4 years. I attended Lakeview High School in St. Clair Shores, where the atmosphere was quite different. The school was bigger, the enrollment was larger, which led to more filled classrooms. I transferred to Madison April my junior because I felt that the move to Madison would improve my academic and athletic skills. But the teachers and staff at Madison, they want to see you succeed. You can't take that away. So I'm going to give a shout out to the following teachers and staff: Miss Colleen, Miss Pagels, Mr. Harwood, Miss Randolph, Miss Kim, Mr. Giverson, and Mr. Hernovich. I just want to say thank you for preparing me for what's to come in the future. And even though, with all due respect to the board, Mr. Speck, I also want to give a shout out to Coach Drake Wilkins as well. In the fall, I'll be attending Siena Heights University, which is in Adrian, Michigan, about an hour and a half from here. I received a basketball scholarship from the school. I want to give a shout out to my basketball coaches, Coach Tabulari, Coach Ferguson, and Coach Limo. I just want to say thank you for the countless hours that improved my skills and talent. I also want to give a shout out to Athletic Director athletic director, Mr. Brown, and Buddy for all the support. It really means a lot. Okay, appreciate it. I will also be performing in the marching band as well in the fall at Siena Heights. In my 4 years, I'll be studying graphic arts and design for athletic fit clothes, basically. I've been to a lot of different high schools for sports, music, you name it, basically. And Madison's quite different from all of them. There's a lot of togetherness here at Madison. The teachers and staff at Madison, they want to see you soar like an eagle, of course, the little eagles. And Helen Keller has a quote that says, "One can never consent to creep when one feels that impulse to soar." So the teachers and staff at Madison, everyone at Madison, they just give you so much confidence, and that confidence could take you anywhere you want. So in my 1 year or so at Madison, I just want to say thank you, Madison, for everything.
Thank you, George. First time.
Our next student is Sam Sammy.
My name is Sam Sammy. I'm a senior at Madison High School. I have 2 sisters, no brothers. I was born in Iraq and moved to America at the age of 10. My parents didn't want to raise a family in Iraq, so they really wanted to move to a different place. So at the age of 8, a few months after my little sister was born, my family decided to move to a better place called Jordan. Because in Jordan, there is a better opportunity of coming to America or a different place like Europe or something. So after a year in Jordan, we finally received a message back from the embassy telling us that the U.S. was willing to let us come. My family really wanted to go to Sweden though because all of my mom's relatives were there. But we knew that a place like Sweden would take a very long time to get to. So it would take about like 5 years for them to answer us back. My parents couldn't wait that long, so they decided to come here. They knew it was going to be a safe place for us. It took us a long time to get the whole process ready and everything, but it finally went through and we got our visa and everything. We took a plane to England and stayed there until another plane took us to New York. In New York, we slept at a hotel for the night, then we took another plane to Michigan. It was all very scary, but a little exciting for my 10-year-old self. Because I have never ridden in a plane before, and I was kind of scared of planes. But they had little TVs at the back of each chair, and they had some cartoons. It was really fun. So my first year was my first year of school was in 5th grade at Oak Park. It was a really nice school, but I didn't really know much English, so they really helped me down there though. All of my English consisted of was yes, no, and what. But I had some very, very helpful ESL teachers that really helped me out with my English. After that, I went to Oak Park's middle school, where I made many awesome friends there, even if I had terrible English. Then, in the middle of 8th grade, I came to Madison Heights because my parents decided that it'd be better to come here. And I came to Wilkinson, and it was an amazing middle school, even though I didn't stay here for very long. I think the part that stood out to me most was the amazing teachers, and I really liked the library. I was really into books, which helped my English a lot, and this library I really liked it. I borrowed multiple books from here and just read and read. And then after that, I went to Madison High School, of course. I made some amazing friends there and met some amazing teachers. High school, I think, is where most people mature and become adults, and I've matured a lot from freshman year till now. I feel like I was not very grown up in freshman year and just always goofed around. But now I really take my grades incredibly seriously and just try to be the best that I can be. If there is one thing that I wish that they had before, like freshman year and sophomore year and junior year, was AP classes. They're amazing classes that I just was able to take this year because we didn't have them last year. So I really wish that they had them. So I met some amazing teachers at Madison. I would like to say that Ms. Gilbreth is one of the most amazing teachers I've ever had. She would help you with anything that you ever needed help in. Also, Ms. Swain is a good English teacher. She is just a fantastic English teacher. She made Hamlet, like, she made you just, made it like, I don't know how to explain it. This one was really, really awesome. And another teacher that really helped me out was Ms. Brewer. Ms. Brewer was incredibly fun, and she made every book that she read just like very joyous. You were never bored in her class. You were always having fun learning about new stuff. Every project and every book that you read, it was awesome in her class. I had many more amazing teachers, but of course I can't just name them all. And one of my most favorite programs in Madison High School is the AP classes. I think that they're incredibly challenging, but I love the challenge. I think it prepares me for college a lot better. There hasn't been much else like that prepared me for college more than AP classes. They really showed how hard college can be, and I love it. Also, like the boys soccer team, I love playing soccer, and it was an amazing experience to play in a soccer high school team. I plan on attending the University of Michigan. I received an amazing scholarship that will cover all the university's expenses. It's an incredibly amazing opportunity, one that made my parents incredibly proud of me, and that made me really joyous. I plan to major in computer science because I've liked science, computers, ever since I was a little kid. Well, not a little kid, ever since I've seen computers. But if there's one thing I wish that Madison had was more computer classes, but I did go to OTEC, which helped me a lot. I was able to become Strata certified, and the Strata certification is a general knowledge of computer certification. So that was really awesome. And I would just like to thank Madison for everything that it's done for me. I have gained a lot from this district. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Senator.
Okay, our next and last presenter is Melissa Kadri. Melissa asked to go last, but her time has come.
My name is Melissa Kadri, and I am a graduating senior at Madison High School. The schools have been a huge part of my childhood, especially since I was the firstborn of my family to be in America. My parents are from Syria. They were Syrian born. And my dad and my mother were both college graduates, but my father was in the top 10% of his class in the country for engineering. And when my mother came over, she was doing her major for child psychology and minoring in Arabic Sign Language. But unfortunately, when they came over to America, none of their credits transferred. So my father had to do the best thing he could and to start his wage here. When he came here, he didn't speak any English. So he he quickly found a job as a cook at New York Deli. And going from being the top percentile in the country in engineering to a cook in a foreign country, I don't even know what that is for her. Same with my mother. When she came here, she didn't have anybody. And when they got married and they had me, I started off at the elementary school. And the teachers were, I really can't describe the amount and effect they had on our family. To me and my brothers, they were like a second family growing up because they didn't treat my mother's broken English as something that was different. They accepted her and they accepted a lot of other foreign kids. And they never saw her hijab, which is the religious scarf, as any form of radicalism. People say that my religion preaches terrorism, but me just being here shows you that my religion just tells you that I'm just another person. My religion preaches about education, and you can see that with my parents. You can see that as growing up, I was an avid reader, and nothing could console me more than a good book. And being at Madison Schools, I've been grateful for how accepted I and my family was. Even after the 9/11 attacks, even after the Boston Marathon bombings, even after all these, we were never treated any differently. They saw us as a regular family, treated us with respect, and were openly kind and understanding to us. And to this day, I can remember teachers who were there for us since my early childhood, and who I will always visit back, and they'd be supportive of me, and they'd be proud of me. Teachers like my third grade teacher, Mrs. Stoller, like my 6th and 7th grade teachers, Mr. Robinson and Ms. Provenzolo. Teachers in high school like Mrs. Medetsky are the people I could pull from the top of my head. But these are just teachers. There is also the staff members, like the library administration that was here every day after school. Like the janitors you could always say hi to, and they would always smile and ask about your day. Like the lunch ladies who, when you come back in high school for volunteering at the middle school, they would be so happy for you to see how much you've grown. They're more than employees. They're people who truly cared about me and about my family, and I have the deepest respect for that. But when I entered high school, I didn't expect the amount of craziness that high school was, in a sense. The teachers tried their hardest for us, but a problem arose in our freshman year, and that was that the grades in Madison High School were not satisfactory enough for the state. IRE, which was a program that happened at our school for around 3 or 4 years, since my freshman year and was just removed the last semester, was brought in not for our class of 2016, but for all the classes previous to. It was an effort, and it was successful to bring up the grades in the other schools. But what it did was that it took out all the education that high school should have been and focused it more on passing, which will never be a good program. So our class of 2016 was used to for so long not being able to do work, not having that opportunity to do work, because everything was just so easy with IRE. And on top of it, it was lax the last year, and it was removed the semester before. So this semester, the semester that the class of 2016 is graduating, is really the only semester that we have ever had to put in actual work. And I fear for how I will adapt in college, and I fear for my future grades, because I don't think I got the perfect opportunity. But the environment I grew up in elementary and middle school pushed me to be at the top of my class. And this is no criticism to the school board, because IRE was outside of us. But I would not be here, and people like Sammy would not be here with full rides to the University of Michigan, and I with a full ride to the University of Michigan in Dearborn. We would not be here had it not been for programs like the after-school library, had it not been for the nurturing environment of our middle school and elementary schools, had it not been for our teachers who were always there for us, had it not been for a lot of things outside the actual teaching. And I'm here because I was nominated for Student of the Month. But you can see that a lot of students try their hardest. And I believe that if we push for better reading, just better reading, early on, and encourage kids to read for entertainment, not for a grade. And if you encourage kids to read, it honestly holds the secrets to a lot of things in life. And it is because I was an avid reader that I got that full ride, and I got many other offers that were amazing. You have to let kids read, and you have to let their imaginations run wild. You can't force them to read Shakespeare once a year and let that be enough to get a good score on the SAT. These imaginations need to be cared for from elementary and up, like it was cared for me and for a lot of students in the class of 2016. Besides that, I will cherish the school district and its members with my heart.
So we're going to move forward. Ms. Pagels, I think you have something to talk to us about. Present.
So, as many of you have heard of already, we are planning on, I think, our first overnight band trip in a while here at Madison Schools. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do in a few weeks and the educational positives that it's bringing to the program. So what I'm passing out right now is the preliminary itinerary. A couple things might change. Probably instead of arriving and picking us up at Madison High School, they'll pick us up at Wilkinson Middle School, this building, since we have students from both buildings attending this trip. So this trip will take place Friday, May 20th, overnight through Saturday, May 21st, and it is up to Mackinac Island. So a lot of our students might not have the means to get up to Mackinac Island, be able to see such a beautiful place, be able to see kind of a community without cars and have horse and buggies and kind of get taken back in time. So I'm really excited to give them that historical and cultural opportunity, as well as a musical one. One of the big draws to doing this trip through Bright Spark was that they have a Mackinac music clinic. Very similar to some of the band festivals we attended earlier this year in Belleville and Warren Woods Tower. Our kind of combined 6 through 12 band attending the trip will perform on the island at a renowned Mackinac music clinic with renowned music judges and adjudicators playing alongside different bands from all over the state. So that'll be a really great opportunity for them, a great performance opportunity outside of kind of our school and our community. In addition to performing, they also get to see a special musical performance on Friday evening, the 3 men and a tenor concert. And then overnight, as you can see, it says private nighttime security on duty at the hotel. So there'll be security in the hallways, making sure that everything is going according to plan and everybody is safe. For historical kind of field trip sort of things, on Saturday they're going to explore Fort Mackinac, which is from the 1880s. It's very cool. I think it was, I saw on TV the other day, it was like the first fort that got attacked in the War of 1812 or something like that with the British. So that'll be really interesting for them to see that piece of history. As well as the students will get to do a Mackinac Island carriage tour on a horse and carriage, and also just explore the island and kind of see what's going on. Do you have any questions?
Exciting.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the band, the overnight stay at the Mackinac Island.
Thank you. Support, please.
I support.
And discussion or question?
Chaperones.
Yes, we have myself, along with 3 other chaperones, Kristen Cole being one of them, and then Nanette Basler and Marlon Stokes Sr., Marlon Stokes' dad. So we'll have 3 adults, plus myself with 4 adults, as well as our tour guide, Bob Keast, listed here.
Any other questions?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes 7-0.
Have a fun trip.
Great.
Thank
Have a
you.
blast.
Should have taken
Enjoy
lots
it.
of
Have a
pictures.
blast. Absolutely.
Mr. Abdulahad, are you here to talk about CRP?
No.
We're going to skip that. Okay, all right. Sounds good. Well, we're going to move into another presentation. As a school board and administration for a while, we've been talking about the benefits and certainly the opportunities and possibilities that exist with advanced manufacturing, computer science, and where we, as Madison District Public Schools, can play a real vital leadership role in that. So Mr. Gilbertson, who's been leading these efforts, we want to kind of officially present some information to you tonight about the Madison Advanced Manufacturing Collaboration, MAMC as we'll call it. Mr. Gilbertson, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speck, members of the school board. It's been a great night so far, and I'm really excited about giving you an update on what we've accomplished to date. And those here present in the audience to talk a little bit about this exciting initiative. Let me back up. Okay, so I guess I'll begin as we have figured out what we're going to call our Regional Technology Training Center. It is going to be called MAMC. And thank you to Mr. Speck for putting together that nice logo. And so Madison Advanced Manufacturing Collaboration is going to be the title of this initiative, in which we're excited to bring forward to Madison Heights. So Madison's program will be a regional technical training center. It will be providing skill sets for students and adults. Students that attend our district, students that are from different districts that live in the area that want to gain certifications in robotics, machining, PLCs, CNC, and a variety of other certification programs. Students who attend this program will be in their home school still, but again, if they, let's say they live in a different district outside of ours, they would come to us and be part of this program. So it's modeled, this MAMC program is modeled after Ramtech. And I know the board has heard a little bit about Ramtech in the past, and just to the few of you that want to know a little more about what Ramtech is, if you Google Ramtech, what you'll find is in Ohio, Ohio offered a state, I think it was a straight A fund grant it was called, and there's 9 facilities in the state of Ohio currently that are similar to what we're trying to fulfill here. Essentially what that is, advanced manufacturing training centers for adults and for students. And so we're modeling our program after it. It's been so successful in Ohio, they are actually expanding it to another 9 facilities in the next coming year or 2. MAMC will support STEM education, K-12. And again, the main theme here is to provide stackable industry certifications that help students and adults receive viable employment opportunities. Here are just some of the industry partnerships that we do have right now, and some of these are post-secondary organizations. You know, quite honestly, it all started with FANUC. I'll make this real quick. Mr. Speck came and said, you know, hey, I met this lady, and I know a little bit about FANUC robotics, and, you know, let's take a look at it. Well, that's really where it started. And, you know, we brought FANUC with your support. We were able to fulfill purchasing a robot, a FANUC robot, and you know, obviously we're still, you know, I think in the early stages of the program, but clearly the opportunities from FANUC is amazing for our students, and they're our big supporters. We just recently acquired the Michigan Manufacturers Association support, which is pretty significant. The Society of Manufacturing Engineers is also behind us in this initiative. And you'll see Tooling U, I'll speak about that briefly. They're tied to SME with curricular resources. And a local company in JN Corporation, I went there, I met with the vice president over at the corporation. They're fully behind us. course, Macomb Community College, we're starting to forge new opportunities and relationships with them for our students and adults. And currently, we're in our Project Lead the Way curriculum at the high school, and we have a grant to continue supporting that into the future. And that's a pre-engineering curriculum. So why are we doing this? I guess that's the big question. Well, why would you do something like this? Well, I got to tell you, every visit I've made to every organization, every business, every industry, I hear things like, well, you're about 30 years overdue. How come it's taken you guys in education so long to bring back career technical educational programs such as what we're talking about with machining and advanced manufacturing? Why? Well, here's the statistic. It speaks for itself. So over the next decade, nearly 3.5 million manufacturing jobs will likely be needed between 2015 and 2025. 2 million of them are expected to go unfilled due to the skills gap. So I don't need to read all of that because obviously you can see the screen. But the bottom line, at least from my perspective and as an educator, we have a mission to teach and prepare students for careers beyond high school, for college, for all the things that we need for them to be successful. But when we see statistics like this, that there are these great opportunities for very good paying jobs, we have an obligation to prepare our people who are interested in coming to us for this type of opportunity. And at the same time, fill a skills gap that is really a national security issue. When you think about all of the manufacturing jobs that are going to go unfilled, that is a serious problem for this country. And that's part of the reason why I believe we've gained so much support from local industries and companies like, or organizations like MMA and SME. Real quick, I just show this quick statistic to you, the STEM difference. As we, as educators, are in more and more working to ensure that we're providing a rigorous type of learning environment for students, we know that problem-based learning is the way to go. The sit and get, the lecture is never going to be a good model for anyone to learn it. STEM education, problem solving, computation skills, critical thinking skills, those are the types of, that's the direction in which certainly I believe we need to go, and that's the direction we're trying to take our district towards. And as you can see, the students, or the adults I should say, the people that have more STEM training get paid more. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics backs that up. So real quickly, I'll run through this. So here's part of the problem. Okay, so we know we want to gain industry certifications that are going to be good employable skills for adults and for students to gain. So where's the curriculum to teach it? That's another, and where's the people that we can find to teach these specialized types of programs? Not easy to do. That is a challenge. You can build the facility, you can put the equipment in there, but getting the people to teach it is not so easy. And then the curriculum to use to prepare them. So I got to say, I've been looking at a lot of different options for us as a district to consider, and certainly I've been up to date with Mr. Speck on some of these options. Probably the most exciting is this one right here. Tooling U SME is an educational product. Fortune 500 backs this up. It's partnered with the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. It's, as you can see, high school and post-secondary curriculum. Most of it's online, and then the students that are involved in this type of curriculum are able to get hands-on experiences by going into the machine shops and having apprenticeship opportunities, and really the combination is proven to be quite successful. Community colleges use this curriculum, U.S. Department of Navy, defense management agencies, correctional facilities, workforce investment boards, and many more. Additionally, if we end up partnering with the Tooling U.S. SME, we get the support of the workforce development, which will assist us in ensuring that we're building a comprehensive manufacturing educational program. And at this point, I know it's been a long night, but it's worth seeing. It's just a 3-minute video, and I think that this 3-minute video will probably tell you the whole story. to update you on what we also have been working on is a National Science Foundation grant. I'm sure the board's aware, but just to make sure everybody is understanding what we have done. Over the past few weeks prior to April 4th, we had a really strong initiative and push with the leadership of Mr. Speck, myself, and a very brilliant lady working at Fanuc Robotics, one of our IST partners who sells equipment for this advanced manufacturing center, who was instrumental in helping us get this program underway. And of course the grant experts that we called on to assist us. So we submitted a grant April 4th. Mr. Speck hit the send button, it went through, we got it in, and we will know, I think it's sometime in October, if the $2.5 million grant request for a computer science STEM initiative will be approved or not approved. So a real exciting opportunity for the district, for us, and I honestly can say this was one of the most comprehensive efforts I've ever experienced with a group of people putting their work together for a grant like this. So obviously if we get this grant, it's going to have major impact on not only the advanced manufacturing component, but the idea of us to teach a more computer science type of skill sets, K-12. And so that's a pretty exciting opportunity. Looking forward to April and hearing about whether we achieve the grant or not. So just to follow through a little more on K-12 STEM, certainly advanced manufacturing is part of STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math component. Again, as mentioned, the high school is currently teaching the pre-engineering with the Project Lead the Way courses, and that's slated to continue through their scheduling process and hopefully for many years to come. We again have our Fanuc Robotics course with a certification available for our students that pass the final exam. We also, as we know, have U.S. First Robotics at the high school. The middle school has FTC, which is the middle school version of First Robotics, and so that will continue on. Next year, we had actually about a couple months ago, one of those snowy Monday nights, we had elementary parent meeting, and we had VEX IQ Robotics. A gentleman brought the VEX IQ robot to the parent group, and it was an amazing evening for the parents to understand how VEX IQ Robotics could enhance the STEM education for those students. The kids that were there ended up playing with it. It's an outstanding opportunity and ties into STEM. So we're looking into some purchases for, again, VEX IQ, grades 3 through 8. Recently I found a very, very good, reasonably priced program for teaching STEM. Those of us in education know about McTighe and Wiggins. These are two researchers that are essentially experts in designing curriculum and mapping it out to have high academic achievement for students, making sense of a curriculum map. Well, they have endorsed this program to define STEM. And the idea is to provide career-based, problem-based learning projects in all classes, all curricular courses and all levels. Because Project Lead the Way is at the high school, it seems to make sense for us to consider pursuing a STEM-related educational environment K-8 with this potential resource. You could also look at Project Lead the Way, which is an outstanding resource, a little more pricey, but very, very effective in pre-engineering, also K-8. And of course, the STEM computation skills K-12 initiative will come to completion if we can gain this $2.5 million grant. Just a couple quick slides here before I conclude. So, as we may know or may not know, any state-approved program provides the district additional revenue. And what we are doing currently, we have our construction program, which is a state-approved program, which brings additional revenue to the program, to the district. And we would like to add, in moving forward, is a mechatronics type of program that is state-approved for our district as well. So students in a mechatronics learn the different competencies that combine engineering, engineering skills, robotics, and so forth. So essentially, that's what we would like to add. And the state does not have a robotics state-approved program just yet. Actually, I was slated to meet with one of the state decision makers on this and still plan to. So we'll hopefully be able to bring 2 additional state-approved programs to Madison with robotics and mechatronics. And just to kind of recap on FANUC, as mentioned earlier, students and adults that achieve the certification in FANUC, and I would even go further, as I have recently learned, stackable certifications. The more certifications you acquire, the more employable you are. Right now we offer the initial certification there, which is definitely required as a fun foundation, but we want to build on that. You want to add to it. Now, when you do that, you're a much more employable individual for FANUC or any other robotics company. And I think I have, well, I should say, we have an articulation agreement, so any student that passes Mr. Folks' FANUC course automatically gets 4 credit hours at Oakland Community College. That articulation agreement is already completed. I am working on now getting it to Macomb as well, and that should happen before the year is out. Just to see again, these students or adults that get employed without a degree but with certifications are getting hired in roughly at $35,000 to $60,000. So it's not impossible for a 19-year-old to get these kind of wages coming right out of high school with the right skills. And of course, engineers make more, but you have to have more college for that. And if they choose to go in engineering, this is a great foundational skill that we're providing here at Madison to go down that road. Just wanted to emphasize advanced machining. And we all know we had machine shops when we were in school many years ago. Well, it's coming back. And let me say this, this is not everyone's going to be a machinist, and we certainly understand that. But the skill set that is required to operate these machines is certainly higher than it's ever been, and so is the pay. And we certainly want to bring forward an advanced machining course here. You can see in the right that little picture there with all the equipment there. That's a significant investment for a school district to make to try to match that type of facility. But ultimately that could happen if we have enough support moving forward. In the meantime, whether we decide to get 1 or 2 or whatever we do, or partner with our local colleges, we can provide this type of learning environment to our students and adults that come through us. Just a quick highlight, if you decide to go into machining, you can see the careers that you can acquire right out of high school, the first tier of positions, and then with additional training, CNC programming, tool and die maker, mechanical engineer, and so forth. We'll pursue the national certification for construction education and research. And you can see they make up to $60,000 and up with a degree in a variety of different positions in machining. Some of the local employers that I have already communicated with, H&L Tooling, JN Corp, of course FANUC. I had the fortune to meet the KUKA reps a couple of weeks ago, and got a pretty solid belief system that we provide these types of skills in machining. Opportunities for our students and for the adults are going to be great to be employed there. Macomb Community College, we're really, Mr. Speck and I had a meeting it was my second meeting with the dean and provost over their advanced manufacturing facility at South Campus at Macomb, but we are really going to be forging a partnership with them to provide opportunities for our students and adults to go to Macomb Community College. And I just got one more after this, so if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. So when we're here in Oakland, we have Oakland Community College. It's a great school, great opportunity. Students are going there. And so I would continue to encourage that. I'm not going to discourage it. The key is with Macomb, as we all know, South Campus is only about 10 minutes from here. And they have the facility for a lot of these courses that we're trying to bring forward. So Auburn Hills is the alternative when you go to OCC. So we're pursuing, Macomb Community College has already begun acquiring apprenticeship programs and year 13. So just so the board understands, the year 13 piece is really gaining momentum nationally and certainly more available to us as a district. So students, if they go with a year 13 and an apprenticeship program, could be either or both. Students are taking high school classes at the college. They are making a commitment to fulfill year 13 at that college. If they go toward an apprenticeship, the idea is 11th and 12th take classes here and at Macomb, And at the same time, they're partnered with a local manufacturing company. And so upon completing year 13, they're placed in a job, a career, a good paying career in advanced manufacturing. So likewise, a student could earn a college associate's degree in year 13 in a different field, altogether different from advanced manufacturing if we chose to pursue that avenue. But right now, we're proposing the advanced manufacturing avenue. So some of the programs you can see are listed: advanced manufacturing, CAM, CNC, industrial hydraulics, machine repair, and there's a lot more, but those are some of the highlights. So I guess at this point, and I know you've heard this already, but this is truly exciting. May 19th has been the scheduled date for the big open house. We are having the SME and MMA have sponsored us, as we know, to have a great event where we're going to have hopefully up to 650 manufacturing companies have been invited. Now, I'm not so sure they're all going to come, but depending on how many come or don't come, we're going to have a number of manufacturing companies come to us and understand what we're trying to do. And with that, we will learn from them what skills do we need to be teaching our adults, our students, to prepare them for careers. And with that information, and they see our commitment to this great initiative, the hope is, similar to the Ramtech model, that we will be gaining apprenticeships through these companies, perhaps getting mentorships, more opportunities for our students to go visit those facilities. It would be wonderful if a company decided to provide financial support for specific equipment that we would train our students and adults in. And that is really what this is all about. And I put win-win-win in the bottom because truly, with this dream to come true, where we fulfill this advanced manufacturing training facility, obviously our students win because they have the opportunities for great careers and great jobs. Our manufacturing companies win because they don't have to wait years and years to find people to fill those unfilled jobs. They can come right to our location, right to Madison, and we can bring them those high-quality, skilled people. And of course, the district wins because we'll be drawing people to us for a relevant education and a relevant opportunity that will change their lives forever. So it truly is a win-win-win. And from my perspective, this is very exciting. The only dilemma I honestly have, and I'll say this as part of this presentation, is it's still on paper. I mean, not all of it, because we have the pre-engineering course, we have FANUC, we have connections now with different organizations to move forward. But to see our facility operational is truly a dream that is worth pursuing. And with your help and your support and everyone's involvement, I certainly hope that happens.
I'll just say a couple things, and to put kind of wrap a bow around the presentation is, you know, in Ohio, even with Ramtech, even with as those campuses have expanded, and again, in just a 5-year period, by the end of 2017, they will have 22 locations. They are still 60,000 jobs short in Ohio of fulfilling the need. When you throw in computer science, you add another 10 to 20,000 jobs. Michigan is already at 100,000 job loss in advanced manufacturing. So for us, this isn't just, I don't know if this is going to work. This is, how do we take it from paper and make it work? We know we have the facilities with the 12,000 square foot area of Wilkinson, currently the administration area. We know we have 2 areas of those that are already fitted electrically for this because of what the building used to be used for. When you have organizations, statewide organizations like the Michigan Manufacturing Association, put their letterhead on the bottom of what you're doing. Society of Manufacturing Engineers put their letterhead on the bottom of what you're doing and use their database of addresses to say, yeah, we're going to push this out. I've been talking with key leaders in the state legislature about this, workforce development in Lansing. So for us, it's not a matter of whether or not it's going to work. It's just a matter of going from here, really from point A to A1, A2, and to make it happen. We'll start to see that happen over the summer and into the fall. But our May 19th event is really to gauge the level of interest with local industry. And again, when you think of that 650 folks who've been invited, that's just within about a 5 to 7 mile radius of us right here. 650, just in a 5 to 7 mile area radius. So the need is there. The interest we know is strong. We already are having people RSVP to that event, so we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbertson.
You're welcome. Thank you for your support.
Mr. President, I do have a question.
Mr. Breck.
Unless I'm misunderstanding, but with the grant or the 2.5 million for the STEM, I believe it was, if we get that, does that start immediately next school year?
Yeah, I'll answer it and you jump in. It would start next school year. We'd start to implement kind of a planning process with that. So the idea behind that grant with the National Science Foundation is to, how do we use that money, working with all of our buildings, all of our administrators, all of our school community, not just to wait to high school to introduce science and technology and STEM education, but how do you bring that into kindergarten, first grade, and have a K-12 school district that has a focus there, to where you really start to measure when second graders are spending time using hands-on opportunities. How does that measure? How do you assess it? How does that work with state assessment? All those kinds of things. So when they do have the ability to be in middle school and high school, they've already been introduced to these job opportunities, and then they have the opportunity to choose, do I want to go to college? Do I want to have these job opportunities? Job opportunities aren't going away. We already have it somewhat built in when we look at what we already offer curriculum-wise, with Google CS First at the elementary and the middle school, with robotics being introduced at elementary and middle school. Obviously, it's already at the high school. So it's really taking what we're kind of already doing and then just really putting a lot of financial support behind it.
And just to add, one of the keys, as we really didn't talk about a lot here, but is the pre-engineering, the problem solving, the STEM-related types of thinking skills is a skill set we need for the future for all types of employment, whatever field we go into. And computation skills, computer science skills, that's a major focus of that grant. But all of that type of thinking, if we look at all of our children starting at the little age and working their way through our school district, and along the way gaining that pre-engineering, that problem solving, the computation skills, and then having this option when they get to the point of 8th or 9th grade to take these advanced manufacturing courses. And if they choose down that road to go there, we obviously have a great opportunity for them. But if not, we've already geared them toward, as we heard tonight with some of our student presentations, more AP courses, more higher level thinking classes at that high school level, to where they can, even not even to mention this, there's a pre-engineering cohort academy that Macomb is also offering, that we could have students also gain college credits towards being an engineer. So that's the big picture. It's more than just advanced manufacturing. Of course, that's our presentation and our main focus of our facility, but training the minds of our young students in a manner that they're problem solvers and critical thinkers, and STEM does that. And that truly is the initiative that certainly I know the grant is supporting, and that's the direction we're starting to move towards.
Well, I will make this be the bow, I guess, but to say that it's more than just the academic curriculum. To say a child has the ability to go through, graduate from our high school, receive certifications, come into a training program, and then go into a job that becomes a life-changing decision. Life-changing because of the job, because of the career opportunity, because of the money. Again, this isn't, no one's going to solve the 3 million job shortage thing in the next 12 months. But we have the ability. We are actually being looked at in the state as a place right here in Madison Heights where it is the wheelhouse. This is a huge opportunity. Other places, Macomb Community, Oakland Community, MTech, there are different facilities around, but no one has been able to look at this from a comprehensive approach of taking computer science, advanced manufacturing, putting it together, and then producing both secondary students and young adults, or folks coming back into the workforce, as a place where they can come and industry say, yeah, we need these folks right now.
And the job forecasts 3 million jobs. Depending on who is voted in as our next president, that could be 10 million jobs.
Could be more.
If they start bringing some of this work back from other countries and
And that data is changing because that report was done a couple of years ago, and industry has said to us that that's probably a little bit behind. That it could be more like 4.5 million, 5 million jobs already.
This is exciting because I had the privilege of meeting Jeff from JENN. And I was at a launch meeting with some people for the job that I do, the consulting job that I do. And we were discussing Madison Schools, and they asked me what made Madison special, and I was talking about this particular thing that I had very little knowledge about. And Jeff from JENN turned around and gave me his number and said, I want in. I'm ready to hire whoever you can send my way right out of high school. So he explained to me that those jobs could very well fall to the wayside, a lot of those, at some point within the next 20 to 25 years, because less and less people are getting involved in those areas. So explaining it the way he explained it to me was growing up in the era that I grew up in, and some of us grew up in, was that graduating from high school and getting an opportunity to go to work for the big three, you were pretty much guaranteed a job, a decent job, with benefits that could sustain your life. A lot of those have subsided, and this is the new opportunity for the next generation. So I'm excited. This is probably the most exciting thing that I've seen sitting in this chair since I've been on this board. So I'm excited about it. I appreciate it.
I mean, GM is putting $1 billion in right over there at 12 Mile and between, Van Dyke and Mound area. The Sunnybrook Golf Course sold, and I believe Chrysler's putting a plant. I mean, this is where it's going to be happening.
Absolutely.
Very soon.
And our partners, like Fanuc, they sell the robots and they provide training, but that's where we step in. And because right now, it's a 6-month waiting list to be trained on a robot with Fanuc. So one of the areas that we step in, and they're one of our partners in this, is to be able to train people immediately, where you don't have the waiting list for a certain area of this. So it is exciting. We're looking forward to the 19th. We've got the guys starting to clean out the area over there to get it set up for the open house, and that could be at least a 2-week process. But it'll be good. It'll be ready to go. And we've got Fanuc and KUKA and others are bringing in some demo equipment for us so we can use for that day. So it ought to be really good. We're looking forward to it.
Any further questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's do it before someone else does.
We'll move
So
into
let's
the.
do it before someone else does.
Amen. We'll move into the regular meeting working agenda. No, the 8th grade City Point trip, I believe, is going to be.
They've moved it down.
They've moved it, correct? Yes. I apologize. So we'll move into the regular meeting agenda, the approval of regular meeting minutes and special meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the regular meeting on Monday, April 11th, and the special meeting on Monday, April 18th, as they are reviewed and presented. Could I please get a motion to accept the minutes?
President,
Mr. Brack.
motion to accept the board meeting minutes.
Thank you, and support. Ms. Cole, thank you. And discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Ms. Sherman, I'll need your help with this, but I'll put it on the table so we can open the discussion. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the ballot proposal renewal operating millage non-homestead election as it is reviewed. I need motion and support to open the discussion. So could I get a motion to approve, please?
Mr. President.
Mr. Brick, thank you.
Motion to approve the ballot proposal renewal operating millage.
And support, please?
I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. Ms. Sherman, you want to give us some background, please?
Yes, this is our operating millage for the non-homestead, so that's all of the businesses that the school depends on in our district. This is something the state actually calculates in our foundation allowance. It's 18 mills, and we are up for renewal. We had passed it last time, I believe, for 5 years, and now we have to put it out again. This will be a renewal as long as it's passed. In December, after our last approval of the tax, in December, it'll be expired. So if we don't get it passed by then it'll actually be an increase, what we call an increase. So it's important that we get it out and have our residents vote on it and pass this millage.
So passing this millage would not be an increase.
It is not an increase.
Last time this happened was in the fall of 2011, I believe. So it's something that the district has done for quite a while.
Well, yes,
Nothing.
we've always done it.
Any questions? Comments? Ms. Sherman?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the proposal submitted by Abraham and Gaffney, P.C. to audit the basic financial statements and single programs for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2016, June 30th, 2017, and June 30th, 2018, as it is presented. Could I get a motion, please, to accept the proposal submitted by Abraham and Gaffney?
Mr. President.
Mr.
I'd
Pittman.
like to make a motion to approve the proposal, is that what we call it, by Abraham and Gaffney.
Thank you. And support?
Support it.
Mr. Horner, thank you. Discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We have a personnel list. There's only one name on the personnel list. It's for a leave of absence. Jessica Paul from Madison Elementary. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the personnel list for Madison District Public Schools as it is presented. Could I get a motion to accept the personnel list, please?
Mr. President,
Ms. Cole?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the personnel list as presented.
Thank you. And support? Support? Mr. Christich, thank you. And discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Pass the... Okay. The monthly expenditures, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the monthly expenditures totaling $1,372,673.77. That's $1,372,673.77, please. Could I get a motion to accept the check registry?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marr.
Make a motion to accept the check registry as presented.
And support, please?
I'll support.
Mr. Pittman, thank you. And discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
It is recommended that the Board of Education support Ms. Michelle Sherman's recommendation on the 2016-2017 Oakland Schools budget as it is presented. Could I get a motion to support Ms. Sherman's recommendation for the budget, please?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marr.
I'd like to accept Mrs. Sherman's proposal as presented to the board.
And support, please?
Support.
Ms. Cole, thank you. And discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
At this point, I would ask that someone make a motion to go into executive closed session to discuss legal. So could I get a motion for executive closed session, please?
Mr. President,
Mr. Breck.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive closed session.
Thank you. And support?
Support.
Ms. Cole? All, thank you. Discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Executive closed session at 8:30 PM. So I'd like to go back into open session, 8:55, and start with committee reports. Anything from youth assistance, Mr. Howard?
Assistance is a week from Wednesday.
City Parks and Rec?
That's a week from Thursday.
Mr. Pittman, anything new in the historian?
No.
Mr. Speck, community roundtable?
We'll have a annual volunteer luncheon coming up here in about a couple weeks. If you want to attend that.
Okay. Open schools, updated earlier from Ms. Sherman. Shall board comments? Bill, you want to start?
Yeah, I want to start, I'll try not to take too much time, but I really want to say how impressed I was with the speeches from the 5 students of the month, especially from the high school. I really like to hear the stories of how some of these students end up at Madison. I say end up, but I mean how they start at Madison and then end up staying when they have a choice to go somewhere else. It's I really like to hear those stories when they have a choice to go somewhere else. And it was really nice that this is Monday of Teacher Appreciation Week, that every one of the students mentioned a few teachers. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to say that I really do appreciate our teachers, not just this week, but every week for the job that they do. Oh, one other thing. So these students that were up here tonight from the high school, back in 2008, I had an opportunity. I coached the varsity baseball team, and we had a little bit of success, and we had a couple baseball games on the day of graduation for the seniors. So we scheduled our own graduation, like later the next week, where I kind of made a speech to all the students that I think we had 8 seniors on the team that we had a special graduation ceremony for them. And in the speech, part of the speech that I made was about how a lot of times students leave our school and they don't come back, and a lot of good students do come out of Madison, and I'd like to see these kids come back, all of them, but especially the ones that got their full rides to Michigan, to be a little inspiration to our students that are coming to the district at that time.
Good thought, I agree with you. Mr. Marr?
I don't have none tonight.
Mr. Kirstich?
As well, the students, very, very impressive. Mr. Gilbertson's presentation was phenomenal. Looking forward to the advanced manufacturing collaboration. That's good stuff to come there. And like to mention the carnival. I think it was a great success. And looking forward to the Science Fair Friday. That's all
Fantastic. I got. Ms. Cole?
I would like to say that I really enjoyed the carnival. I think everyone did a great job. I was very proud of our students, all the ones that I got to observe over the weekend. The students tonight with their speeches, they were really great. Hopefully inspiring some of the younger students to continue on and do great things. And looking forward to Science Night, our open houses that we have coming up. They're pretty exciting. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Horner?
I really don't have anything other than to all the teachers. I mean, if you listened tonight, you heard nothing but positive about all our teachers, so good job.
Thank you. Mr. Breck?
Yeah, I'd like to echo everybody else's words here, but congratulations to the families and the students of the months.
of the month. It's pretty touching when you have parents in the audience crying over their children's success. So congratulations, keep up the good work. Also, with the teachers, thank you for everything you do, for the endless hours that you put in. As you could tell, the students really appreciate it. Carnival, huge mega success. I've heard nothing but positives. The craft show, a good turnout. So thank you to all the staff, to the volunteers, Ms. Skokenauer for the craft show. It's too many names to go with it, but thank you very much. Science fair this Friday, and what time is that?
It's at 5 o'clock. We've already had over 500 people pretty much.
All right, so hopefully I'll see you guys there, and thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm going to echo the same thing the rest of the board said. I'm privileged to be a part of this board and a part of this district. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Thank the kids for coming out and speaking from their hearts tonight, because they said some things that we should be aware of. And I appreciate that. I wish them nothing but success. I also want to thank the teachers, the absolutely most underpaid people on the face of the earth. And I want to thank them all for what they do every single day. I'd like to thank Robin Kokenauer for an outstanding job with the craft show. 85 tables, just amazing. It was amazing to see. It was a great process. It was a lot of fun. Everybody had a good time. And I want to thank the people who sponsored and volunteered that event. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everyone who was involved with the carnival and made that happen. From the smallest volunteer to the biggest. In a 4-day event, we knocked it out of the park. And our kids were outstanding. Our students were outstanding. Our staff was outstanding. Our volunteers were great, and I heard nothing but good things about it. And so hopefully it'll reflect again next year.
So we do plan on making it an annual thing.
I think you do, yes.
Because there's been a lot of people asking about that, so yes.
I think you do plan on making it.
I'm going to.
Well, now, Don and I are not guaranteed to be sitting here next year for this, so you have to commit to it.
Well,
you will be here.
Well, if you take the ratio of success that this board's had, I can't believe you wouldn't be sitting here, so. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
Mr. President.
Mr. Brett.
I'd like to motion to adjourn this fabulous meeting.
And support.
Support.
Jeez.
Everyone supports.
And discussion.
All in favor?
Absolutely.
All opposed?
Heather.
Motion
We
passes.
are adjourned, 9:05.